Beyond the Beef. We not only talk about everyday problems, we talk about everyday solutions. James, how are you doing today?
Oh, just fantastic. It's been a busy day, Bob, but I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
There's so many times we catch up a little before. I say we wish we could put some of this on, but we can't put everything on. Because we'd get divorces and people hating us and all this other stuff, and work fired,
quality of life stuff. You know what I mean?
No jobs, so, right? Yeah. Things are tough.
No jobs, no friends, no family.
No friends, right, except us. That's
it. We'd be alone together somewhere.
Still the 7 viewers.
That's right.
Which we got to do something about this, man.
I know, we got to figure it out.
Every episode gets better.
Yeah.
And the algorithm is not going to do it by itself. I mean, I guess this is the new age of YouTube. You got to pay them to advertise and everything else. It's fine. I get it. But it's just not growing because there's nothing. We're not doing anything.
And I'm thinking maybe people don't want to listen to the whole thing. Maybe we got to cut things up a little bit and sense. I'd like to hear from people. If people want to let us know what they think they would like to see or hear. Would they like it some shorter clips of different pieces? Because there was some gold in that last one.
Gold.
I'm not gonna lie.
You gotta go through.
You gotta get to it. Yeah.
And I said I was going to do bookmarks. That could help. I haven't done it yet. It's really silly that I haven't, because I just like 4 bookmarks, and I think it's as easy as just putting the timestamp, and so I got to do that.
I'd probably let you do it pretty easily.
We've done 20 episodes. I can bookmark the old ones too, though. So I guess I'm going to work on that this weekend, I think.
Is this 20 or is this 21?
This is 21 now.
This is 21. Okay.
I mean, imagine we had such a hard time for so many years, like doing this from an hour routine. I look forward to it.
Oh, me too.
I'm afraid of being, I don't think I'll ever want to stop, because I just enjoy catching up with you anyway, but I don't want to get demotivated by the fact that it's just not doing anything. It's like just for us in a way.
Because you don't see everything, by the way. The clips get some good.
Oh, the clips get some views.
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. I did say I don't want to see that.
I've got some TikTokery out there. So
I can't imagine what you're doing to me on TikTok.
Yeah, no. I'm not doing. Listen, you're giving me the clips, so
that's true.
It's going through the Bob sensor before I can do anything. I'm figuring it out.
You could clip them up into those ridiculous loops or something silly.
Yeah, I can do a bunch of fun stuff. But we had some impact. We had some conversations. There was like 14 people that we're talking about
really?
When I was. Yeah, we had a little bit of comments on the no shoes on an airplane piece. People weighed in and were giving a little bit. Yeah, some people say they're just gonna take their shoes off for me. Really, that's the other piece.
they want to bug you.
Piece.
Yeah, that's it. People are nice. What's interesting is last week's. I listened back. I liked last week's episode a lot, but I really liked the medical rant that I went on, because it's so true and so necessary for people to hear it, right? And it's like, that's one of those rants that I'm like, I wish that more people would hear this.
I agree, because
this has to change, right? Like this whole idea of doctors just not paying any attention to their patients and not spending any time doing any research. We keep paying more and more and more money for this privilege. There's a real issue there, and so I might clip that one up, and maybe you can
put
it out
to
there.
Me. I'll throw it around, because
I really think that
I'll throw it around. There's something interesting that happened, by the way.
Why? What's that?
Last week, right when we were done doing the recording, temperatures dropped a little bit here too. Did you notice that? Did you notice that it got a little chilly?
I was going to actually bring this up because it's 63 in my house right now, and that's a little. That's
getting to the edge,
cold.
right? So it got colder, and for those of you who may not remember, because I'm sure you all watched the last episode, we talked a bit about when's the right time to turn on the heat here, right? Yeah. Here in the Northeast, and so got a little cold. It was 60 in my house.
That's cold, yeah. Right.
And there was an attempt to maybe we'll take the edge off, right? Furnace didn't turn on.
Of course it doesn't turn on.
Yeah, furnace did.
This is the other reason I didn't mention this last week, why I don't like to turn my heat on, because something always goes wrong.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
I've got probably $2,000 of liquid gold sitting in a giant tank, right? And I can't use any of it because my furnace isn't working. So what I decided to do, I'm going to wait.
You're going to, oh, well, that's not smart.
I'm going to wait. No, the reason why I'm waiting is this, right? I look at the forecast. It's going to get a little warmer this weekend. I got a buddy of mine that can maybe help and check things out that may be a little more cost effective. I didn't see a whole lot of risk. So, a couple of space heaters when the kids are cold and
The problem with this plan, by the way,
there's a lot of problems with this plan.
Lots of problems
because electricity is through the roof even more.
Well, that's true, and I'm doing the same thing, by the way, with the space heaters, but not because my furnace is broken, but because I'm what we said, right? I'm just not turning it on yet. I'm just not going to do it. And it is supposed to warm up a little bit. But the problem with your plan is that when you do get around to turning the furnace on, everyone else is turning it on as well. And then no one's there to service it.
Yeah, it's true.
So you're going to be really cold. So I'm not sure that I could recommend
this approach.
My
friend come by in a day or two and let me know if he's...
does he work on these things, or is he just...
he does. He's an HVAC guy, so he does a lot of different stuff. He's an
HVAC guy. This is a good thing. Well, I know that this isn't going to happen. Ironic. What's that?
I just found it ironic that we were talking about it. And now my family's been begging for heat ever since. And you know what? I've got an excuse not to have it on. Furnace isn't working.
Sorry.
Saving me money.
This is the way it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Rub two sticks together.
Right.
I mean, that's what it is. Well, the good news for my house is that the furnace runs the water heater as well. So it's going all year. So I know that it's not broken. But what does break is that, of course, it has to direct hot water to the heating system. And, usually a valve gets stuck or something like that. But, good, like probably every other winter when I go to turn the boiler on or when I go to turn the heat on, something happens with my thing, which is why I don't want to do it. And then last season with the air conditioning, the same thing. I turned on the air conditioning and what happened? There was a leak, right? And it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But
I don't have that. I got a propane system for the hot water and my propane and stuff like that. I've got a different unplanned system for that. So
probably better, but
I don't know what's better. But anyways.
Well, speaking of broken, I have a story for you.
Talk to me.
Well, this is it's a story, but it's also goes into a beef. So I got a new washer dryer 2 years ago because the old one, which was at the time 7 years old, was completely stopped working. Right. And they get to the point where, they're more expensive to fix than to buy a new one. And so, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So you just buy a new one. Okay. So I went out and I said, you know what? We're not going to get a bells and whistle one. We get a basic machine that, decent. I think we spent like maybe $650 on the washing machine, which is not bad, right? It's like
it's right in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle, maybe even a little on the low side. And, of course I didn't get the extended warranty because extended warranty is like $200 or something close, 100, between 150 to 200. Is it really worth it to get the extended warranty? Okay. So I didn't. This was 2 years ago. All right. So go to turn on the washing machine right after our beef, right? Well, I didn't even do this. My wife comes downstairs because she happens to be the one that does most of the wash in the house. And she comes downstairs and she's like, well, got a problem with the washing machine. There's always something, by the way. Whenever my wife comes down into my lab where I'm making microphones, I know there's a problem.
My lab.
Right? Yeah, my lab. There's a problem because she generally won't go down there to the basement.
You know something's up. Something's up.
I know something's up. And she comes in and she goes, what? The washing machine, I think it's broken. All right. So I go up and I check it. Sure enough, it is broken, right? So I said, okay, we'll call a repair person. We call a repair person and it's $125 to get the repair person out, right? And so now I'm $125 into the $650. And then it's going to be like a diagnosis and then parts and then labor. And I'm adding this up. And it's probably going to be at least $500 to get the repair person out there. Yeah. So I think we just go get a new washer. Yeah, 2 years old, by the way.
Yeah.
Right?
This is how they make things these days.
That's how they make things, right? So I go to the store. Again, I won't name them, but big box store. And where I got it, in fact. And I said, here's the situation and need a new washer, And she says to me in the smuggest of tones,
the smuggest of tones,
that's why you should get an extended warranty.
So I can only imagine the response that you had.
Now I'm mad, right? Because now I'm like, you know what? Now I'm not going to buy a new washing machine. Now, no matter what it costs, I'm going to fix it. Because you are not correct. Actually, she is correct, but she shouldn't be correct because,
they should make products that last longer than 2 years. Yes,
that's exactly. Not the answer. The answer isn't, well, you were supposed to get the warranty and that because you didn't get the warranty. No, you're supposed to, someone's supposed to make a washer that lasts more than 2 years, I think, right?
You would think.
How could you possibly say that to me, that you put the burden back on me and say it's my fault for not buying the extended warranty? oh my God, I was so mad. And I was mostly mad because she was right? And she shouldn't be right. So I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'll buy the washing machine. When is it going to be delivered? A week and a half. I said, can I cancel it? Oh yeah, you could always cancel it. You could be sure I'm gonna, because I'm going to go home and I'm going to fix that stupid thing. So, okay, so I go home. I go to YouTube, put it in diagnostic mode, do the whole thing, right? Figure out what's wrong with it, turn it over, take it. And it turns out that there's a run capacitor. That's bad. Okay. Now, the reason I'm telling you this story in detail is because I want people to understand when we say things aren't made the way they were used to be made, right? Like, maybe it's not always like clear what we mean by that.
Right. Okay.
Because we know that it's the case that washing machines used to last 30 years and now they last 2.
Washing machines, dishwashers, all those things.
Yeah, but why is that, right? Well, because they're making them differently. But what are they doing? I'm going to give you a real example of what they're doing, okay? So, what does your washing machine do when it spins?
What do you mean? What does it do when it spins?
You know, when it spins. Does it move? Shake, rattle, roll. It shakes, right? It's vibration,
a little bit
right?
of shimmy, yeah, for sure.
It does some shimmying, right? This is what it's supposed to do.
Nice, yeah, exactly.
Exactly like that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Which means that any of the parts that you put on the washing machine,
they're going to shake too.
Need to be able to handle them because they're going to shake too. And okay,
yeah, sure.
So I turn over the washing machine and what has happened, but the run capacitor has not only gone bad, but it has exploded. Now, the reason it's exploded is because they have a cheap metal run capacitor filled with solution, right? Which generally with a capacitor, oil of some type. And it is held on by a cheap metal bracket that literally clamps onto the run capacitor with like these 2 semi-metal spikes, right?
Okay.
That, of course, if the capacitor is made out of cheap metal and the bracket is made out of metal that has burrs on it, what's going to happen when the machine goes...
shaking will make it go loose. Absolutely.
Will make it puncture, right? It's going to puncture a hole in the... which is exactly what it did. And so I ordered the part, I changed the capacitor, I got the washing machine up and running, but they sent me the, so it was $100 or whatever it is, but they sent me the exact same capacitor with the exact same bracket to put back on the exact same machine that does the exact same shaking. So what do you think is going to happen in 2 years?
It's going to break again.
It's going to break again, right? And so this is what I just like, I'm so upset about this whole situation because it's so wrong. And here I have a real situation of like why things don't work the way they used to. Okay, so I yapped on. Yeah. What do you think about this whole thing?
Well, I'm going to go back to when you were at the box store, first of all.
Yes, please. Yes, the first time or this when I went to go what?
No, when you went to go get a new get a new machine. And I guess my first thought is, and I didn't want to interrupt you, is you wanted to say she should not have, or he or she, I don't remember if you said it was a woman or a man, should not have said you should have bought the warranty, right? But much like an airline and people having a problem in the airline, and blaming the people versus the airlines, really, she's not the one to blame. She could have very well be saying that because, they make everything like garbage these days. So you should have bought the warranty.
Yeah, she was right.
Right. If it was somebody from the manufacturer that said that, then you should have really been pissed. Like if they built the washing machine and said, I should have bought the warranty, buddy. Yeah. That's right. Then you really should have been mad at somebody individually.
Did you not get the memo?
Because exactly. Like that's what we're doing these days. You got to buy a couple of them every couple of years. But that's the first thing. It's like they're just not doing it right now. It's all cost. We know this, right? It's all cost and expense and all of this stuff, and they've used garbage products to make something that looks beautiful and is supposed to do the same thing, but inside everything is cheaper, less expensive. They could produce 3 or 4 of those for the cost probably of what they would do if they were really making something more sturdy. So they just pump them out,
yes,
right? And that's what they're like. All right, well, we'll just make more because really it's just the shell that looks fancy. Everything in there is just. We're saving money on that. Yeah. So we'll just go ahead and pump these things out. And 9.9 times out of 10, no one's doing what you're doing.
That's right.
I know I'm not. Right. I know I haven't. I wouldn't even know what the things are you're talking about right now, if I'm being totally honest. Yeah. I would have Googled it or you could have YouTubed it, could have spent the time. But people are like, is it worth my time? Is it worth the energy running around with life? And they just bank on the fact that no one's going to do what you're doing.
Yeah, they're not. And
They're not.
What they're going to do at the most people are going to do is call a repair person.
And the trend now isn't. The trend now is not to do that.
Because they know that it costs them more. Yeah.
So the trend is not to call someone anymore. It's to buy another product. So
incredible.
The life cycle of these products is shorter.
Yeah.
The companies are making more money because what are there? 3 real known names that are out there making these things? You know,
and they're making all different brands.
And they're making all different. Exactly.
That's right.
So you're really all funneling down to about 3. People are just buying new stuff. So like, all right, short life cycles. We'll just keep turning them over. And the Maytag repairman that didn't have any business.
Right. This is, by the way,
right? Just
not
doesn't
to give away
anymore.
any company names, but in any case,
ones I'm sure everybody is well known about, right?
Because they're all owned by the same company, right? And so they're all making the same. But you're right. Now, does it bother anybody? I mean, I have to go back to, because we're product guys, right? Mm-hmm. And so, during our product careers, I will tell you, when I was a product manager, product leader, whatever else, I would always get into fights with the operational leaders. They did not like me. And the reason they didn't like me is because of exactly this. Mm-hmm. This one operational leader I used to work with, good enough guy and everything else, actually really good operational leader, but he was driven by the company to reduce costs. And he would do that every way that he possibly could. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'll never forget, there was one situation we had where we were responsible for product. I was responsible for a product that was packaged a certain way, and they wanted in the plant to go to those what do you call them? Clamshell packages that you can't get into, right?
Yeah,
the vacuum sealed ones.
Yeah.
By the way, I mean, have you ever? Oh my God!
Yeah,
I cut myself.
Sure.
I've tried to open it with my teeth. Yeah, I can't tell you.
There used to actually be like a website of injuries that would happen from clamshell packaging that used to show all people cutting their hands up and cutting pieces off because it's the worst packaging to have things.
And I know that all you need to do is go get a scissors and open it up. And even then, sometimes you can't get through it with the scissors, which it blows my mind. But most of the times you can. But there's something about it, like the principle. I'm not going to get a scissors to open this thing up. I'm going to find something because it shouldn't take that. Right. Uh-huh. Okay. So I'm going crazy again, but But anyway, they wanted to go to this because it's cheaper. And I was like, no, we're not going to do this. It's going to cheapen the experience. It's going to make people frustrated. I don't want that to be and the answer was, well, it was cheaper and we want to reduce costs and nobody cares and blah, 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 blah. And who do you think won that argument? Right. And so at the end of the day, this is what happens is that as a product person, I continually got overridden because why wouldn't we want to save some money and put some more profit in our pocket? I'm like, because long term, that's not going to work for us. But companies don't care about long term. They care about the next quarter because that's when they're going to get their stock prices and that's where they're going to do their annual reports. That's right. It's so frustrating.
And when you have people that aren't customer focused looking at how they're going to do certain things like the packaging of a product, it doesn't work, right? I mean, we all know the reactions we get when products are packaged the right way, right? And things happen great from a product. We want more of it, right? Yeah. Like that's just the way it goes. It's just, and now we have this really a poor product. And I'd say all appliances at this point in time. I mean, again, I'm not buying the upper echelon of everything, but I shouldn't have to get something that works for more than 2 years, right?
No, that's right.
I shouldn't have to buy the best of the best to get something that works or that does its job for more than a couple of years when you're spending a good amount of money on it, right? I mean, you really are.
That's right. You're spending a lot of money. And, these things, when they do go, like I had the same exact thing happen to a refrigerator. I don't even know if it was the same company or not ultimately, because, again, there's so many brands that are owned by the same company, but it's same basic thing. Yeah. And the ice maker stopped working. Why'd the ice maker stop working? Well, I don't know. Because I like to dig into things and fix it. I went and looked for the tools, found out that they used some wire harnesses that when you open and close the door, it basically severed the wires over. It was the same thing. It was like a year and a half. And I'm like, is this stuff never tested? Or even intuitively, like I looked at the wiring harness, I was like, there's no way that thing's going to last because it's right at the place where the door opens and closes. And the same thing with that one, to actually fix it, you had to replace the entire door, which is going to cost you whatever. For another, $300, you get a new fridge. I'm like, oh my God. So that's what this is. Disposable products now, right?
Exactly. And that's I think in a bigger picture, that's a lot more of the day and age we live in.
Yeah.
Products aren't what they used to be. And I hate to make it a global thing, but people are so busy, and it's just this disposable economy, I'd say, right? Where we're buying things and we're going to get rid of them, or we'll use it for this amount of time, we'll get rid of it. And granted, there are certain places you can, Facebook Marketplace, maybe sell them or give them away or do stuff. But people just churn through things so much now, and they're so much more easy to spend money as opposed to take the time to maybe fix and do what you've done.
Yeah.
They just burn through things and get rid of them and move on. And it's just bad because products aren't built like they used to be.
No.
Things don't have the quality that they used to have. And we just continue to spend money on it.
And nobody seems to care. And
nobody seems to care.
And you know what they
Nobody
do continue to care about? They care about plastic straws and plastic bags and everything else and disposing of those. It's like, you want me to not bring a plastic bag home from a store, but you're okay with me disposing of a refrigerator every 2 years and throwing that in the landfill.
Exactly.
Okay. Are you joking me? Do you know how many plastic straws I have to consume to equal a refrigerator?
That's so true. So true.
Just put this in perspective.
Yeah.
Like, how about if you want to regulate anybody, regulate the companies to make products that don't get disposed of every 2 years? Would that be 100%. Too much to ask?
100%.
It's crazy.
100%.
Crazy.
It's nuts. And I we're in this piece that we do have these conversations that say, I don't even call a repairman anymore.
Yeah,
just get a new one.
And it is really, really a bad trend. So what do we do about it? What do we do about it, James? This is about solutions here, because this is what I do. I bitch about things and you solve them. So solve it, man. What do we do?
This is one that would take a lot more work for us to solve. But what I'll say is this, I wish I did what you did more often, because it could be something simple that are wrong with some of the things that I've disposed of easily.
Yeah. Check
it out. See if it's something small that could be something done with it. But communicate to the companies, maybe let them know what's going on, because listen, I'm still, we're like you said, we're product people, right?
Yeah.
I look at everything in that lens. I look at everything from gathering feedback and how are things built, and are they really customer centric? Are they not? Why are they making these decisions? All of these pieces. Look at the competition. What are they doing? What are other areas doing? But talk good about the ones that maybe you find out that are built the right way and share that. I'd say we all can do that as consumers.
Right. Stop being so nice. Everyone wants to be so nice.
Too nice.
Like,
it's
no,
too nice.
Call it out, right? Like these things, when things are good, call it out. When things are bad, call it out. Like, that's exactly right.
Yeah. When we talk products or things, if something's not working or something's not good, share that. Yeah. Something is, share it. You know, everything doesn't have to be great just because, you may know somebody who works there or somebody who did this or somebody that does that. Yeah. Be honest and try to share so that we can all buy it and use it. And you know what? If you fix something, hey, has anybody ever fixed this? Or, share that sort of stuff so we can maybe keep the same products too and use them more often and be less quick to dispose of everything.
This is the thing. I think if we kind of wrap it around, again, this hypocrisy around, we don't hold companies to task for making products that last, but we do hold consumers to task for not using a plastic spoon.
It's so true. Yeah.
What are we doing? Again, we've talked about it on other shows, but I go to the supermarket, everything is packaged in tons of plastic, right?
Tons.
Not one bit are we holding the retailers, the manufacturers? Nobody is being held to task except the consumer, who has to walk out of the grocery store with armfuls of things, or put this stuff in bacteria-ridden reusable bags so we can save on the 10 cents worth of plastic that we're taking home per week.
Or,
it's crazy.
That's right. Or buy a brown bag right? Or if you're at some of the grocery stores near me, you can pay 10 cents for a brown bag, or you can pay 15 cents for a really thick, small plastic bag.
Yeah.
That the good news in the plastic bag is it won't break as quickly but you just have to buy like 10 more of them because they're small.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
But we're saving the earth. We're saving the earth.
Is the money I'm paying going back to the environment? Are you giving this to some sort of global warming charity or something? Like, where's that money going to?
Saving the planet.
It's crazy that
speaking of
the battles we choose are nuts.
Here's another one for you. So I got a hybrid vehicle, not because, we've gone through this before, not because of anything other than
hybrid.
I do. And only because it was the one that was available. And I do like electric technologies, not because I think that it's better for the planet. I don't buy into any of that because it's not true. Right. And I'm going to show you why. So we're at 50,000 miles, getting on close to 50,000 miles on this thing. And we take it into the dealer for the service. And they say, "Ooh, yeah, of course, it's never an oil change.
In a while, huh? Haven't been here in a while. I see, right? Yeah, you got
every time that because now they make the cars where it tells you, right? Maintenance required, but it doesn't tell you what the maintenance is. So it forces you to go to the dealer.
At that point, it's just a way to get you to go back in.
It's an oil change, right? So, but it's never an oil change. So you go in and it's going to be an oil. Oh, it just needs the oil change. Oh, great. Okay, good. So then I get a call, because my wife took it this time. I was working. So, and she's not comfortable with these conversations with she always hands the phone. I'm like, I'll have them.
For sure.
I can't wait to have these conversations.
You're good at it.
So what we need in this case is, $1,000 worth of tires, which that kind of makes sense at that mileage. But then they say, well, your coolant system. Oh, okay. What's wrong with the coolant system? Well, the coolant is dirty. Yeah, coolant will do that, right?
It'll get dirty.
So you mean it's not factory fresh after 50,000 miles?
Does it smell like lemon?
I don't care if it's dirty. I want to know, does it work? That's what I want to know, right?
Right.
No, well, we recommended 50,000 miles. You're almost there, so we probably need to replace it. Whatever. It's not that much. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, fine, replace it. But you have a hybrid vehicle. Oh, yeah, I know. Because it's supposed to be better for the earth, right?
Yeah.
Well, hybrid vehicles have two coolant systems.
Oh, okay.
One for the radio, one for the battery, apparently.
Sure.
So we need to replace coolant in both of those now. Oh, so you're saying that every time you have to replace coolant on a hybrid vehicle, it's double the amount of coolant that you have to use and dispose of. In addition to when the thing craps out eventually, I've got to dispose of this lithium battery. I don't know what that. And by the way, I've got to charge the hybrid. I don't have to charge, but if it was a full electric vehicle, I got to charge that fully. Right. And so that's using energy from, I don't know, just coming from the sky just somewhere.
Nowhere.
The god is giving.
It's just the sun.
Right. No fossil fuels or anything that's feeding our power plants. Of course. So this is better for the environment, right? Come on with this. Stop. Would you stop trying to pull the wool over everybody's. And you know what?
It works.
They are pulling the wool over people's eyes. You know why? Because uninformed people start getting loud on the internet, right? And bitching at everybody on the internet about this and that and the other thing and making everybody feel small because they're so superior and they don't know what the heck they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about.
They don't know what they're talking about. So you say, it's funny because you say, stop trying to pull the wool. They have pulled the wool. I mean, look at what's going on with these vehicles. Look what's going on in the environment, right? Like, look at socially, how much, almost these things are even falling even sort of within your political decisions, right? Like these decisions, even do you believe in this or that? What car you drive can tell you so much about who you are and what you believe in. It's like, come on, people. This stuff isn't saving the. Like, why are we choosing this of all things?
That's right.
Why are we choosing this to say? Because it's not going to change. Like, there's so many other pieces that we can adjust to change the environment to make things better.
Yeah.
These are the things we're choosing.
And they're not real. They're just not real, I have the same deal. There's another funny story, right? So when I went to buy the car, this was in the shortage of cars. Remember, I think it was right after COVID. Must have been right after COVID.
In the middle.
In the middle, whatever it was.
And right after.
There was a big shortage of cars. And I didn't choose to buy a car then, but I cracked up my other one, so I had to. That got disposed of, by the way.
I didn't hear that story.
Yeah. You didn't hear that story?
No.
I mean, I didn't crack it. Well, I didn't. No. I mean, I got into an accident, but, Yeah, well, no, it wasn't. What destroyed the car wasn't my fault because there were two people behind me that piled up on me.
It was one of those. Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, it was fun. But that is a whole other story. But in any case, this part of the story is that I had to get this car during that time. So cars were at a premium, of course, and you had to get whatever was on the dealer lot. And the hybrids happened to be there, whatever else. But here's the funny thing. So I tried to talk them down on the price. Like, no, there's no cars available.
Supply and demand, right? Exactly.
Yeah, so
Typical
by the way, are you an idiot? I'm like, okay, whatever. So they go to ring up the car and they say, oh, and by the way, there's a charge on the bottom for nitro air or something like that. What the heck is this? Oh, yeah, well, now we're filling all the cars with nitrogen air and the tires. The nitrogen in the tires. Oh, yeah, it's much better. And, it's much better. It doesn't give you this whole thing. I said, no, I don't want that because of one main reason. Air is mostly nitrogen. I mean, you're basically filling my tires with air, and most people don't understand this. They're, oh wow, nitrogen, that's amazing. Yeah, you're filling it with air, is what you're doing, right?
It's nitrogen rich, Bob. It's nitrogen rich.
Nitrogen enriched, right? Thank you so much for filling my tires with air. How much is this line item, you ask? $800
just to fill it with special air.
Special air, right? This must have been a thing they were doing for a few months, whatever. Like, and so I went back to the dealer after my 30-something thousand mile, whatever. And one of my tires was a little low because, as it turns out,
the nitrogen leaked out.
Didn't it? Leaks just like oxygen or any other air, right? Because it is air.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I go back and I said, hey, I got this special nitrogen. Do I have to fill it back up with your special nitrogen? Oh, no, we don't do it anymore. We just fill it up with regular. Yeah, because
they got your money at that point. They were done. Yeah, they realized that they couldn't sell most people. Yeah.
That's criminal. Great. That's criminal.
That's criminal.
It's criminal, right?
That's criminal. Like, I don't even, I can't even explain that one. Like, if somebody was going to, I'm thinking to myself, if somebody was, going to steal something from your car, and they wanted to take your nitrogen air and resell it somewhere else. How would you even know?
You wouldn't.
Can I just walk around and be like, here, I've got this nitrogen air for you?
You know what else you could do? You could put a bottle in the air and put a cork in it, and you're going to have nitrogen air because that's what you have.
No, this is nitrogen rich. $800. $800.
It's amazing. Absolutely. Amazing what they
did. And in your tires.
Yeah, tires. And they've had a little special green cap. So I basically paid $800 for 4 green caps.
That's how you knew that it was $200
a cap. Yeah, that's exactly how.
That's great.
So when you go to get it refilled, they know to put the special nitrogen enriched air in your tires, which the same dealer who sold it to me was like, no, we just don't need to do that.
Oh,
you fell for that?
That's crazy. Oh, that was you? That was you? You're the one we sold that to? Hey, we've got this other air, by the way. Oh, my goodness gracious. Amazing. It's crazy, man.
Isn't it crazy?
It is crazy.
This is life.
What people do. This is life, right? This is people trying to sell something every day. This is the whole, product and people trying to sell things and price things and build things that just doesn't. It's
and like you said, we buy it. We buy it.
People
we
buy
got
it.
Too much. I don't know, credit or money, or I don't know what it is, but we just keep buying it.
But in this day and age, I'll say this, we're in a tough spot, I think, in our country as far as the economy is concerned. Prices are through the roof. I think, from a grocery perspective, and people are complaining about, the prices of milk and bread and all that stuff. But there's no shortage of restaurant pictures coming out on the social media. So everybody's still got enough money to go out and party and eat dinner every night and, post about how great their food is, no matter how the food tastes, by the way, because that makes me nuts.
I know, me too. Want to be nice, right?
Apparently every restaurant in the area where I live is awesome. It's
not a bad one amongst you.
Not a bad one. Everything is great.
That's by the way, doctors are the same thing.
It makes, by the way, those posts useless. By the way,
it
makes it useless. It's got no. If everything is great, right? It's like when people used to watch American Idol and Simon Cowell was on there, right? He was the best judge because if you stunk, he told you stunk.
That's what
and when
nobody
he
wants
gave
anymore.
Something good, you felt great, right?
But
right. No, everybody wants nice now. So I was like, oh no, that was nice. That was good. Well, your comments mean nothing. They mean nothing.
This translates over to work, by the way, too, because
that got me a little
you see, you know why? Because, listen, we used to work together, and you know that I'm going to call things out. I'm going to be critical, I think, in a positive way, right? Sometimes maybe I don't know, but at the end of the day, nobody wants to hear any criticism ever.
Nope.
Ever. If you give anybody any criticism, they shut off, they complain, they get you fired, they get this, that, whatever it is. And what's the end result of that? Nobody's learning and nobody's getting any better, right?
You don't get better.
Because we're not allowed to reprimand. Right. We're not allowed to tell anybody that they're not doing well. They're not allowed to say something is bad, right?
No, it's crazy.
It's bad.
And from a business perspective, used to do some things on presentation skills and things like that too, right? And the only way I'm going to make somebody better at what they're doing is we would have them do it in front of the group. We tape them. And back then, as long as you set it up the right way, right? You weren't being a jerk. You were giving, hey, this was good, but here's something that I would work on and whatnot. People were able to receive this. And this was years ago, right? I'm talking, it's been quite a few years. I think now, I don't know how much stuff I'd have to preface before I said anything. Before, to be like, hey, disclosure, I'm not trying to hurt anybody. Yeah. I like
really
all of you. You're really
yeah.
great. But if maybe you want to just try this, maybe this one little thing, maybe next time it might make it a little bit better. But you don't
optional.
need to. But you don't need to if you don't want to. No.
Right.
We didn't get to where we are by not accepting criticism. You've criticized me on how we've done certain things. I've helped you, even though you won't admit it, at times when you're doing certain things. But when we used to work together a lot, that's how we made each other better.
And it reminds me of our children, too. We've talked a little bit about the school system, things like that. But this is something like, the kids are going to respond to things that they are criticized on, right? Like when they are, and I'll give you an example. I've told you, go to public school, whatever else, graduating high school, they can't add. They can't speak English. They can't. And I think the reason is because of the things that we're talking about. Like the teachers can't tell anybody that they're wrong in anything. But you know what my kid does know? My kid does know the proper pronouns to talk to people. And the reason is because that's what they're being reprimanded on, right? If God forbid you call somebody who is gender neutral a he or a she, you get slapped on the wrist. So what do? They don't do that, right? Anybody who wants to be referred to by a certain pronoun, my kid is sure to refer to that person by pronoun. Why? Because they know if they don't, they're going to get yelled at. They're going to get whatever.
Ostracized almost.
Ostracized, right? For sure. And I'm not making a statement on the pronoun thing. I have my opinions of whatever. But it's just that's what they end up learning because that's what they are disciplined on. But they cannot multiply.
Again, we are putting the emphasis on the wrong things.
Yeah.
Whether it's how we're building a product and what we're doing for the environment, or this, like how we're teaching our kids, like they've got to be able to accept responsibility and criticism to grow. I know I've personally had, experiences where I want to coach and critique my son on something, and he'll get mad, he'll get upset, whatever. But you got to do it.
It's like because that's when they're going to learn.
Because that's how they learn,
and that's how I learn.
And that's if we're always trying to that's how we learn. That's how anyone learns. And if we're always worried about someone's feelings, then you're always gonna tell them they're great. You're always gonna tell them there's not a problem. They're gonna think it. And then when that person comes to tell them they're not going to be able to handle it. They're they're not going to have the skills to be able to hear it when they do, if they don't grow up hearing that, hey, these are things to make you better. These are things to make you better.
That's it.
Still love you, but this is a problem. And whatever it may be, they've got to hear it. We've all got to hear it, or we don't get better, and we're in a bad place when that time it does come, right?
Listen, I teach corporate classes. You used to do that, right? And at the end of the day, you know that I always want the feedback. And we've worked with people that don't, right? We've worked with people that modify the survey so that they don't get the bad feedback or throw away the bad feedback, or, when they get the bad feedback, it's like, oh, this person was a jerk. And, you and I always took it to heart. It hurts. It hurts. But listen, I've delivered some clunkers of classes and I want the bad feedback so I know what to fix. And you know what? By taking that feedback, even though it stings, I continually improve the classes. I change the class almost every time that I deliver. And you know what? Now I have a class that I almost get unanimous positive feedback on. Why? because I took the negative feedback and I made it better.
It's like building a product.
That feedback.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a product. It's exactly
building a product, right?
Exactly,
and we are a product, and we are as humans a product of what we create. Yeah. And if we don't get that feedback, similar to what we're saying about washing machines and whatever else, we don't get that feedback and work to make ourselves better, then we don't grow. We don't get better. We stay sad. Don't get me wrong. I hate negative feedback, just like anybody else.
Everybody does, yeah.
Right? And for me, it does live like, oh, maybe this is that, And I still remember people from 10 years ago where they worked as a company when they said something bad about, something that I had done for a presentation or whatnot. Yeah. Like, it sticks with you. But that's why you think about it when you're going back in. And whether you're presenting or working or doing anything, you got to take it. Like, sometimes it's not delivered great. Sometimes it's not delivered great.
Those are some of the most valuable ones. I remember one of the early classes that I delivered, right? A little nervous, whatever. I didn't know exactly how to time everything. And I got a piece of feedback, from somebody that literally was like,
James is better.
This was before I was working with you, by the way.
Just kidding.
I don't believe I've ever gotten that feedback, just for the record.
Because they like you, Bob. They're looking out for your feelings.
That might be. They feel bad for me. Oh, this poor guy. He's got nothing else going for him.
Give the guy a break.
Yeah, right. But this feedback, though, was from somebody, and basically they said something to the effect of, we spent the first 45 minutes hearing about himself. That kind of thing. And I was like, it's true. Yeah. And I didn't mean to do that, right? Because I was like nervous, so I was giving telling
stories and validating yourself.
It's validating myself. I was insecure. I was like, who am I to be teaching this class, right? So of course I got to give my whole resume and kind of justify in my own. So I'm talking to myself, right? Like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Well, let
why
me tell
should you listen to
for
me?
The next 45 minutes, right? What kind of a history I have, and as it turns out, that was not the right thing to do. If she didn't give me that feedback, I would never have improved that, right? And I know people who never got that feedback, and we know people still do that, right?
Still do that, sure.
Still do that.
Yeah.
And so,
part of it.
this is the thing. So anyway, well, I wanted to say one other thing, because I mentioned in passing, I was like, when you said nobody ever wants to give negative feedback, everyone's got the best restaurant. And I said doctors too. This is not related in a way, but it is a funny kind of a thing, because we were talking about medical last week. Have you ever heard anybody say, my doctor sucks? Like, they always say, I got the best guy. I got the best guy. I got the best doctor, right? Like,
that's true.
I never ever heard anybody say,
that's
my doctor's kind of mediocre.
No, I think most people kind of connect that goes to the whole problem, right? We think they're the best people. They're always looking out for us.
We think they're gods,
they're
right?
like our partner. They're our partner. Without them, I wouldn't be here today.
Oh, my doctor's the best.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, wait a minute. Every single doctor is the best, because every doctor has patients. It can't be the best. Yeah. So actually, so most of them probably are not. I just thought it was an interesting thing.
Research.
It went a different direction when I made the comment, but
it is another one that's true.
All right. Well, there it is, James. I don't know. We got anything else?
No, this is good, because
I think it's good.
This gets back to
punchy.
The whole connection, right? The whole connection in regards to, focusing on things that matter, focusing on really, if you really want to make a difference, find out what really makes a difference, and work on it. If it's really important to you, work on it. Don't follow. Don't let people pull the wool over your eyes. Follow it, make it important, and do it. And by the way, also while you're doing that, take feedback, grow, get better, learn,
There's your
whether
solution.
It's, and that's it. And that's I think we could wrap this whole thing up in a lot of those pieces that I think we've stopped doing, some of these things. We've lost track of it as a race, as a society,
Don't be afraid to tell people that they suck.
I mean, if you gotta soften it a little, let's face it, right?
I'm sorry. That's why
I'm a little bit
I shouldn't
more.
Do it.
I'm a little bit more of a softener than you are. Like, let's just be honest, right? And some, I'm a little bit more of a softener than you are. My wife is more like you. She's a little just gut right to it, a little more punchy, and it's good for me sometimes. I don't always like to hear it, but it's good for me sometimes.
Don't always like to hear it.
But I deliver the feedback as well.
You got it coming from both of us.
Between you two, it doesn't
I don't
stop.
criticize
I'm not
it.
going to lie to you. You know,
I mean, we
Whenever
worked
I go to
together.
therapy.
I'm sure I did sometimes, but you
that was
also
always
criticized
good.
me.
Oh, we always laughed and did good things.
We always got along. I don't think I ever had,
sure.
no. I never had a bad day with you, but
no, it's great. That's
why
this is great. I love you, man. I love you too.
And by the way, we're going to go because I want to keep these at 45 minutes. But did you notice that did you notice my?
Oh, number two.
Number two.
Did you use the same microphone though?
No, they're different.
Oh, okay,
they're
cool.
not the same.
Nah, they look a little similar, but
I'll bring them down.
I like that old school one.
Yeah,
I want to see that new one up there. That one looks cool.
Yeah. Well, I got some good ones coming.
You should be using some of those fancy ones. That'd be
great.
You know,
eventually I'm gonna turn them on. It's
the studio, whole bunch of them on.
Wait, it could light up the house.
I love it. You still in the 20s? You're in the 30s now, or anything? I didn't even talk. We have to do this next time. But I mean, I'm glad you're alive. I'm glad you made it from your Facebook Marketplace visit.
She was amazing.
Of course she was.
She was amazing. I was a wonderful person. And I even said, I was a little worried because I got your texts and they were really short. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, they were one word. And she was like,
I don't know you. I don't know you.
Once again, confirming that I'm nuts, right?
Yeah, that it's you, not them. Yeah, exactly.
She was a lovely person and it was great. And the microphones were a great deal. And I cleaned them up and I will show you those exact mics because they came out really good.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
They're really
That's good to hear.
So I'm going back to Facebook again.
Love it. See, they got you in.
Yeah,
don't let your guard down. They'll get you.
They'll
get you. Don't let your guard down. They'll get you.
We'll see.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Well, great to catch up and great to catch up with everybody out there as well. Don't forget to share, subscribe, tell your friends, if you like this or you like the shorts or you like the clips or whatever else, please, spread the word because we're not paying any money to advertise, which is stupid on our part. But you can help us with that. That would be great.
Yes, please.
And while you're doing all that and helping us out, we can't wait to see you back here on another episode of
Beyond the Beef.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thanks, guys.